Right, we're back. Episode 31 of Speculate to Accumulate. Take from these tips what you will. Obviously, football's not been played in England in a long, long time. I've not done one of these in about 3 or 4 weeks now. I did the Bundesliga one. But yeah, I am going to give you 2 six-folds. 1 teams to win and 1 a six-fold of both teams to score. Narrow them down to 4-folds. Trebles, 5-folds, or just add to your slips. I'm literally just going off research from previous games from around 3 months ago now. So the first acca we're going to do is going to be a 6-fold, and the first pick we're going to have Leicester to beat Watford. So it's 17th versus 3rd, with Leicester winning 3 of the previous 4 between these two sides. Leicester's away form as of late hasn't been too impressive at all. Some might be a bit sceptical on backing this, but with the long breakout and almost a fully fit squad, I think they'll be too much for a struggling Watford, they're only a place out of the playoffs, and that is on goal difference. Watford did win the last home game, which was a 3-0 win against Liverpool, which was impressive. But the game before that they played at home, they lost 3-2 to Everton. So there's the contrast, really. Approach this game with caution, as it is the 12:30 kickoff, so it's the early kickoff. But I do think Leicester can do enough to win. The second game, we're going to head over to Germany, and we're going to have Bayern Leverkusen to beat Hertha Berlin. It's a 2:30 kickoff this, and it's 11th place Hertha Berlin versus 4th place Bayern Leverkusen. So Hertha have lost the previous 3 games, whereas Leverkusen are unbeaten in 9, and they've won 7 of them, drawing 2. The same fixture last season finished 5-1 to Leverkusen, and I don't expect anything less than a win for Leverkusen in this game. That's all I really have on that game. Third pick, we're going to have QPR to beat Barnsley, so we're going into the Championship. It's 13th place QPR coming up against rock bottom Barnsley in a 3 p.m. kickoff. QPR are unbeaten in the previous 6 fixtures, and Barnsley have lost the previous 2 fixtures. QPR have the 3rd best goal average in the Championship, with 1.57 goals scored per game, and they have scored 2+ goals in 4 of the previous 5 matches. So third pick, we're going to have Queen's Park Rangers QPR to beat Barnsley. Fourth pick, we're going to go with West Brom to beat Birmingham in the derby, the West Midlands derby, as it's 2nd place West Brom up against 16th place Birmingham. So I've not done one of these for a while. West Brom have won 4 of the previous 5 meetings with Birmingham, with the other game being a draw. Birmingham have drawn 4 and lost 2 of the previous 6 games, last winning 1-0 away at Barnsley way back in February. West Brom will want to win the league outright, and we all know it's a must-win. It's a must-win game for West Brom. Any hecklers in the crowd? Tits.
Sausages.
Next game, we're going to go for a Wolves win against West Ham in the Premier League. So, like I said, it's going to be another away win for the accumulator in a 5:30 Premier League kickoff, with 16th place West Ham at home to 7th place Wolves. So West Ham have only won 1 out of the last 10 games against. Fucking hell! I know, I can't fucking speak.
Come on, sausages.
So West Ham have only won 1 of the last 10 games, with Wolves being unbeaten in the previous 3. Wolves have won all 3 of the previous 3 encounters between these two sides, and there's not much more to say on this one. I think the stats speak for himself. West Ham have been pretty poor under Senor Moyes' second spell in charge. 6th and final game on the 6-fold, we're going to head over to Spain, and we're going to have Getafe to beat Eibar. So it's a 6:30 kickoff with 5th place Getafe facing up against 16th place Eibar. Getafe have won 2 and drawn 4 of the previous 6 games between these two sides, so they do it in the head-to-head. They do have the upper hand. Eibar haven't won an away game in La Liga since November 2019, and that was against fellow strugglers Leganés, losing 7 and drawing 2 games since they beat them. Getafe have only lost 2 out of the previous 12 home fixtures, which were against strong opposition in Real Madrid and Seville. So there's the sixfold. Like I said, if you want to bang all that onto one slip, do that. If you just want to take a few and add to the selections you've got yourself, do that. But if you do have it as a sixfold, I got it at 46-1. Like I said, I've not a clue how this is going to pan out, but hopefully they will all come in. I'm going to pan the camera onto you in a minute. Right, so time for the both teams to score. We're going to have a sixfold again. So the first pick is going to be over to Germany, Schalke versus Wolfsburg. So it's 10th versus 6th with 7 points separating the two sides. Schalke have landed both teams to score in 4 of the previous 5 games, and Wolfsburg have landed 3 out of the previous 5 games. The previous 3 meetings between the two sides have all landed with both teams to score, and Wolfsburg have only failed to score in 1 of the previous 10 away games, which was the one what they failed to score in was a 3-0 loss against Borussia Mönchengladbach. It's a mouthful. Second pick, we're going to go over to the Championship. We're going to have Blackburn versus Bristol City. So it's 10th versus 7th in a race for the playoffs. Blackburn have only failed to score in 2 of the previous 7 home games. Bristol City have only failed to score in 2 of the previous 8 away games. And I just expect a close game between these two sides, as there is only 2 points what separate them. Third pick on the both teams to score, we're going to have Brighton versus Arsenal. If you're a long-time watcher of Speculate to Accumulate, you'll know that I don't usually go into the Premier League. But with the selections being slim pickings, I fancied this game. After seeing Arsenal's defence midweek against City as well, I do think Brighton can get a goal here. But the previous 4 meetings between these two sides have all landed with both teams to score, and this fixture last season finished 2-1 to Brighton. Both sides have only landed both teams to score once out of the previous 3 fixtures, but with 2 poor defences, like I said, I do fancy both sides to nick a goal or 2. Fourth pick, we're going to go back over to the Championship. We're going to have Hull versus Charlton. So it's 21st versus 22nd in a battle of relegation fodder pretty much. Hull have landed both teams to score in 3 of the previous 5, where Charlton are struggling to find the net really. They've blanked in the previous 3 Championship games, but I do fancy them to come back firing after this long break in a bid to save them from the relegation zone. The reverse fixture back in December finished 2-2 at the Valley, and I expect a similar score in this game at the KCOM Stadium. The 5th pick, we're going to have West Brom versus Birmingham. I know I picked this in the accumulator for teams to win. I had a West Brom win there, but this game is the West Midlands derby. There's not much more I can say about it. It doesn't matter who's playing who in a derby. Usually you do get goals. All I've really put down, Birmingham have scored 21 goals in 19 aways this season, conceding 28 in them 19 as well. And West Brom at home this season have scored 36 and conceded 23 in 18 games. So you'd expect some goals from that game, should I say. 6th and final pick, we're going to have Reading versus Stoke. Probably will raise a few eyebrows. Don't usually pick either of these sides because they're both a bit dodgy on the day, but both teams to score. It is a lottery, as I always say. Anything can happen. So it's 14th place Reading versus 17th place Stoke. Only 6 points separate the two sides. Both sides have landed both teams to score in 2 of the previous 3 games. 3 out of the previous 5 meetings between these sides have landed with both teams to score. And like I said, they're a couple of funny sides. It could end up 0-0, could end up 5-5. They're just them kind of teams, Reading and Stoke. But I do fancy some goals in this one for some reason. If you put all them 6 selections on a sixfold, it is going to come out at 27-1. They're the odds I got anyway. But yeah, if you just want to pick and choose, these are the only bits of research I could really get for these games, and with a big gap. I think previous form from 3 months ago could be out the window with a lot of teams who had injured players in the side, them players are all going to be coming back in because they've had a 3-month break. So pretty much every squad is going to be every squad's going to be match fit. But with that being said, again, I've not a clue how it's going to pan out. Granted, with the time that teams have had out, like I've just touched on, but take what you want again from these picks, and I'll be back next weekend for another round of tips. But if you did enjoy this podcast, hit the like button below, hit the subscribe button below and the notification bell next to it, then you will get updates every week when I do upload. And I've not uploaded anything for ages, and I am a bit rusty, just like these players are going to be this weekend. Peace.